Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast. This is episode 400. Make sure you click to subscribe right now so you'll never miss a journey. I post one episode each week and each guest has a fascinating story to tell. Joining us today is Mike Abramowitz. Mike is a coach, author, speaker, and a podcaster. He helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs implement automation, delegation, and a simple system to translate from business operators to business owners. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Patience. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on the show. My audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today.
I would say if there was only one thing, would be to know exactly how much your time is worth and then buy that time back.
I can't wait to hear more about that. Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background and what you did before you started your own businesses?
Sure. So my name is Mike Abramowitz. I grew up in New Jersey and I went to college in Florida. I have my industrial engineering degree with a minor in leadership studies, and I dedicated 20 years of my life to direct sales. I helped train over 5,000 individuals to sell just under $20 million worth of products. And during the recent future, I transitioned into helping other business owners buy back their time, leveraging AI-powered delegation, virtual assistants, implementing team and technology into their business. And the reason why I decided to do that is because when my son was born on New Year's Eve of 2020, and we were in the hospital with him for 8.5 months because he was born at 26 weeks, weighing 1 pound, 4 ounces, my business was able to run without me while we were in the NICU with him. And when I got out of the hospital and saw that my business created 6 figures in profits and revenue without me there, I figured there has to be a way to teach other people how to set up a business that can run without the business owner. So that's the birthplace of what I've been doing now and helping people with.
But why do you do what you do?
Have those systems put in place when we were in the hospital, then there's no way. Like, my wife became a full-time medical mom. Our son was on a trach and a ventilator for his first 2 years of life. And my wife had to leave her corporate job, paying her $80,000 a year. And I had to figure out, how do I replace her income while being able to be a little bit more present at home? And it was quite a challenge for me as the business owner and the patriarch of my home. And from that place, I said, how can I add value to the marketplace? What problems can I solve for the marketplace? And this is essentially where it came from. And from that place, now my son is doing awesome. He just started school. We have a new daughter who was born in December. So we're really doing great. And it's just so fun serving this audience, this demographic of high earning business owners that just want to have time freedom, not because they might go through a circumstance like I went through where I was, had in the hospital with our son for 254 days, but maybe it's the circumstance of wanting to coach their little league team or wanting to, go on that vacation and not have to be married to their technology or their, the entire time. Or maybe they want to just have a little bit more time freedom to start a passion project or give back to their community or whatever it might be. But so that time freedom piece is so critical in my life. And I feel like I must teach others and help others with the same for those that feel like they need it and want it.
Thank you. But what would you say to someone who has trouble letting go of control and doesn't trust that someone else can do their things or their jobs better, or trust this system?
Well, I would say you're absolutely right. No one's going to be able to do it as good as you. However, 80% done by somebody else is 100% awesome. So, and that's from Dan Martell, the author of Buy Back Your Time. And frankly, we don't want the business owner to let go of control of everything. We just want the business owner to let go of control of the tasks that are below their target dollar per hour. So let's say, for example, if a business owner wants to make 100,000 euros or dollars or pounds, depending on where they're at in the world, right? We have to figure out, okay, if they want to make $100,000 for the year, how many hours a week do they want to work? And how many weeks per year do they want to work in order to earn that amount of money? So essentially, we can help them figure out what their dollar per hour is worth to them. And more than likely, they'll figure out that their dollar per hour is probably worth $50, $80, $100, $200, $300 per hour, or pounds per hour, or euro per hour. And they're stuck in control over $10, $15 an hour, $20, $25 an hour work. So I'm not suggesting they let go of control of everything, but I am suggesting they let go of control of the bottom 20% first, buy back the bottom 20% of their time, including video editing, podcast production, social media, inbox management, appointment setting, calendar management, graphic designing, like any of those types of tasks, we can easily find someone to do that's below the dollar per hour of a business owner. Let go of control of those first in administrative, then in marketing, then in client fulfillment. That's going to free up the business owner to spend more time on revenue generating activities like sales, like strategy, like strategic partnerships, or just spending more time with their family, whatever matters most to them.
Well, is that where the future is heading now, Mike?
Well, I don't know if the future, I wouldn't say the future. I mean, I would say intelligent business people have been doing this for years. This isn't really new, but the part that is very relevant and new is the AI piece, because artificial intelligence has been so impactful to help business owners buy back their time. And if it's used properly, especially used by humans who understand how to use the AI, we in our company call them AI-powered virtual assistants. So when you could have AI-powered delegation where you can be in a lot of different places with your tone, with your writing style, with your expertise, but without you having to necessarily be present. That's the AI-powered human delegation that has been truly revolutionary. So I would say that's where the future is going, but just delegation in general hasn't been, that's been around for quite some time.
So why human really still clinging on doing all this manual work when they can have this virtual machinery do all their work? What have you found that is stopping them moving forward to use this AI?
I would say it's a couple of things. The first is a scarcity mindset. I think some business owners think, well, if I'm going to pay another human and pay technology to do these things, then I'm losing money. But what the reframe that I would invite to them is, instead of playing from a scarcity play of like, I'm losing money by paying someone else to do it, it's I'm buying my time back. And with that new time, I can then do higher value activities. So it's not, let me go delegate these things and go and make a sandwich. I'm doing these things to either build my energy level, my focus with free time and free space to work on strategy, or I'm getting this free time so I can work on strategic partnerships, so I can forge relationships with different communities or different influencers, different corporations that maybe I could create affiliate partnerships or crossover partnerships with, or podcast guesting, or sales, just revenue generating activities, attracting more top tier clients, maybe restructuring your offers. I mean, there's so many different things that a business owner doesn't get to do because they're so stuck working in the business, doing administrative tasks or low value tasks, that we want to remove them from the in the business work and put them into the working on the business work, because that's where we can help grow and scale that company.
Okay, let's put him one aside. How do you know you are successful?
Well, I define it as time rich. And because with time, I would say even with time, there's still this feeling of fulfillment that still needs to go with that. So the name of our company is Better Than Rich. And what we define as better than rich is once you have the 3x freedom, which is time, money, and location freedom, then it's to be fully present with whatever's in front of you, being able to feel the higher frequency emotions on command, the feelings of joy and euphoria in every single moment, being present when you're called to be present. And it's very tough to be able to get to that place when a human is constantly being bombarded with reaction and distraction from people and from their business and from their devices. So that's why we say on the other end of rich, if rich is defined as 3x freedom, time, location, money, freedom, on the other end of that freedom is the fulfillment piece, is the high frequency emotion piece, is the being present piece where there's no distractions or reactions.
How can people manage to remove these distractions?
Well, we have something called the time rich 6. That's the pillars of our company. And the first number one pillar of that patience is boundaries. So if someone wants to put boundaries in their life, that's going to be the first place to start. And we define a boundary for someone that it's intentionally creating space that protects and prioritizes your personal values, your priorities, your relationships, whether that's your family, faith, your fitness, your fun, your friends. So that way those are never compromised by any work demands. So creating these boundaries to protect those priorities is really where it starts. And if someone says, oh, well, I don't know how to do that. It's like, well, you actually do. If you ever had to go to an emergency or go on a vacation, you created boundaries so that way you can be present with the vacation or you can be present with the emergency. So what does that mean? The boundary probably was, hey, I'm not available. I'm not available. I'm dealing with blank right now. So I can't help you with blank because something else is a priority. The thing is, we don't have to wait for circumstances to happen. We can just build a life as if we were always handling emergencies or always going on vacations. We could put in that infrastructure of what is deemed a priority to us anytime. And that was the revelation for me. But the revelation was I was on a trip to Switzerland and Italy. I took my dad on a trip back in 2015. And I was checking my email constantly. I was on WhatsApp constantly. And I was just not present at all. And then one of my staff members quit. She said, I'm done with this. I don't want to work anymore. And all of her responsibilities fell onto someone else. So I'm here in this beautiful location, sending emails, going back and forth. And it was just like, that wasn't a vacation. That sucks. And the reason why is because, well, I didn't create any boundaries. I didn't create any boundaries. I didn't have any real communication guidelines. I didn't have any real good systems in place. That's why this Time Rich 6 is boundaries, communication guidelines, systems, playbooks, team, and tech. All I had was team. I had the one person, I had a couple of people that were doing the work, but there wasn't a real infrastructure there. I didn't have resources or playbooks. I didn't have sophisticated technology for them. I didn't have any systems of if-then processes. So when that person quit, there was no drop and reload. There was no documentation of all the things that she was responsible for. There was no boundaries put in place, obviously, if she was able to just get in touch with me right away. So a lot of what I teach right now and a lot of what our students follow is based on the pains of what I experienced from being in business for over 2 decades.
I feel sorry for your dad being on that trip with you, but you are never really there. You are on the trip with your computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. For my audience, about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
Okay, wherever everything went right for me. There you go. So the moment where everything went right for me, I would say it was in 2020 during COVID lockdowns I'll give you here's the context. I hired a business coach. I was in a relationship in my 20s and it ended after 7 years. And the reason it ended is because I was married to my business, not to the woman. So when I fell in love with my now wife, I made a commitment that I'm going to be a more present husband and father. So I hired a business coach in 2016 before I proposed to my wife in 2017. And that business coach in 2016 was hired because he ran a company in India and he helped scale it from 6 million to 30 million. And he had a staff of 1,400 underneath him. So he understood corporate and he came back to America to teach entrepreneurs on how to corporatize their small businesses. So I was his student and client learning how to do this for my company. So 2016, I hired him. We started putting these systems in place 2017, 18, 19. And then when 2020 hit, when everything was, shut down, lockdowns, everyone was working from home. Everything that I did for 2016 through 2019 was for me to be able to work from home. So I was able to be ahead of the curve and install all of these virtual assistants and offshore assistants and technologies and different project management and resources and playbooks. And I installed all that in my business ahead of time. So when COVID hit, boom, we were ready to go. And we provided over 1,000 jobs that year. We did about $2.5 million in sales. And during the peak season of that business, which is the month of June, I took an 18-day road trip with my wife, and we still did $100,000 in sales that week and still provided over 100 jobs that week, even though I wasn't there during that time frame, because all of the systems and the team and the technology and the playbooks and everything was all set up. And that's when I was like, wow, like this is pretty spectacular.
It seems that you overseen the future.
Pretty much. I mean, and then we fast forward to this past summer in 2023, June, my wife and I and our son, we took a 3-week road trip without my phone, without any technology. We were to just go for 3 weeks on the road. And that was, again, just to be able to do that last year in 2023, I was able to take 9 full weeks off. And I still was able to help hundreds of our students learn how to do that. We still provided and helped over 100 families with that were just a little less fortunate. We also I was investing into personal growth. I was still able to save over 6 figures. It's just really wild to see what can happen when someone is super intentional. When 10 years ago, Patience, I was broken. I had a 400 credit score. I had a negative $130,000 because I bought real estate in my early 20s and then the market collapsed and I was just in a really tough spot. So the power of 10 years is quite remarkable when you surround yourself around positive influence. I'm a Tony Robbins follower. I walked across fire in 2012 and that's really where it was a breakthrough for me, where I learned my message. And it set me on a really positive course for this chapter of life.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how did you get through it with losing 10 years and now going forward, you gained everything back. Wow. If someone is out there listening and they are starting all over again, what advice would you give them?
The advice I would give to someone who's starting all over again, just like I did in 2021, is number one, I took 30 days. I gave myself a deadline. If I did not give myself a deadline, then I would just drag it out forever. So 30 days to figure out my next move. And during that 30 days, I also took a portion of my savings to invest into community and counsel. So I went and joined a bunch of communities and coaching programs and got counsel to help me get perspective so I didn't make any irrational decisions. During that 30 days, then I followed the guidance of what they gave me, the books that they said to read, the journal entries, the prompts, that everything that I was called to do, I did. I journaled every single day. I mapped out my goals. I reflected on my strengths. What are the values that I can add to the marketplace? What are the problems that I can solve? What are the things that I enjoy doing? What vehicle can give me a lifestyle that I want, so I'm not just changing my time for money? These were all ideas and some things that came through. And then from there, I aggressively pursued one. I wasn't tackling 5 or 6 or 7 things. I said, this is my one thing. And that one thing for me at that point in time was to coach and help people understand, everything everything I already shared with you. So I started a coaching program, and I turned that into $100,000 in revenue in 11 months from that moment. And since then, it's generated over $1 million in revenue since that moment when I gave myself 30 days and said, figure this out. And that was September 10th of 2021, just for framework there.
Thank you for sharing. What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
If there's only one thing, I would say failing forward. Every time that something, what I would have deemed as bad, or an inconvenience, or has been a challenge, on the other end of that challenge is typically some sort of positive that showed up for me. And that's why I model the seasons of life philosophy, because those challenges are really just seasons. So I call it like the failing part of it. It would be like a winter season. It's the unpredictable season. It's a challenging season, but spring always follows winter. So just understanding that if I'm in a challenging season right now of winter, then I know spring is going to eventually come. And I just want to make sure that I can navigate this season of unpredictability with the least amount of consequences. So how can I navigate winter season with the least amount of consequences? So when spring shows up, I can plant seeds, have energy to plant those seeds, have clarity to plant those seeds. So that way, when summer comes up, I have the energy to work really hard and making sure that those seeds grow into beautiful fruits. And then in the fall season, I could then reap the rewards of those seeds that were planted and of the labor that I did to make sure that those fruits were bared. And just understanding the seasons of life concept has really helped me a ton, have perspective to say, this is not how it is and it's going to be forever. It's just how it is in this season right now. And spring always follows winter.
How long did it take you to develop that system of you learning the season? I've never heard of it.
Well, Jim Rohn has a book called The Seasons of Life. And I know Tony Robbins has taught this a lot. So this is just my interpretation of their work. Nothing that I have ever done or created is due to me. It's very much stolen or borrowed from the giants before me. I feel like we all stand on the shoulders of giants before us.
Wow. Thank
you. Well, I have a somatic breath coach, and a somatic meaning just getting into my body. So I do some breath work with him 2 to 3 times a month. And that is really the anchor for me. So it's inside of breath, and pairing that with journaling and just writing and capturing my emotions has been a practice for the last decade that has been super helpful. So between pairing the breath work and the journaling for me, with movement, like just walking, those are the 3 go-tos for me to just get back into my body and out of my head.
In your businesses, you mentioned that you have coaches or mentors. What is the most valuable thing your mentors has told you?
I think it's more about what my mentors have asked me than told me, because a good coach doesn't necessarily have all the answers. They have the best questions to reveal and help me pull out the answers that are within me. And the biggest question that always shows up for me is, what is this here to teach me? So that was one of the best questions that one of my coaches and mentors have asked me. And I bring that with me constantly. It's like, what is this here to teach me? What am I here to learn from this? And from that paradigm, it's been quite helpful.
You mentioned you've been in business for the last 2 decades. What have you learned from business as a whole?
That business as a whole is a game, and there are rules to that game, and I create the rules. So that's the biggest thing that I learned. I create the rules of the game, but then I just need to follow those rules. So I choose who my opponents are. I choose how much time I have. I choose how to score points. I choose how we're going to track those points. I choose how to win the game. I choose everything. And then I go aggressively pursue it and win by creating, in my opinion, by creating a predictable system that follows those rules and puts up points on the scoreboard. For some people, those points might be revenue. For some people, those points might be how many jobs, how many customers, how many clients, how much revenue, how many sales, how much profit, right? Like whatever we want to call the score. That's why I say you in business, I make the rules of the game. I create the team, the players, everything, the playbooks, I call everything. And then it's my responsibility to execute the game that I just created.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and how can we join you?
So my business is called Better Than Rich. And what's funny enough, Patience, is that coach that I hired in 2016, he's now my business partner. So we actually partnered up because everything that I did is what, when I called him at the end of my 30-day period, I was like, all right, I said, do you think we could teach people how to do what you taught me? He said, let's find out. We built our business based on that. So now we help business owners, high earning business owners buy back time so they could get the bottom 20% offloaded and spend the time on what matters most to them. So we have a team of AI powered virtual assistants that we install into our clients' businesses. And we have an educational product that pairs with it as well. And any business owner who wants to buy back time, I actually have a gift that I would love to give to anybody that's listening. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
So I am personally doing these because I'm getting a lot of energy from it. I am doing a free 90-day delegation planning session to help a business owner reveal what those bottom 20% tasks are. So this, I'm also pairing it with a 25-page time audit workbook for them to figure out what is their time worth, what are the low value tasks, and what are the high value tasks. And putting all of that together, my promise is at the end of our session, they will know exactly what needs to get delegated so they can buy back their time during the next 90 days. And then at the end, if it makes sense for our team to handle all of those tasks, of course, we could explore it, but just getting clarity for someone, it's been super, super valuable. So I would love to give that as a gift to anybody that's listening, and they could go to betterthanrich.com/90-day plan. That's 90-day plan. And betterthanrich.com/90-day plan. And I would be happy. I'd be thrilled to hop on with you 30, 40 minutes and hop on Zoom and just help you figure out what the low value tasks are that we could get delegated during the next 90 days. So betterthanrich.com/90-day plan.
Thank you so much. There will be more from Mike in a moment. If you are encouraged by Mike's journey, please go to my website at onlinesuccessjourney.com, where you will find more amazing free content. Introducing the Podcast Mastery Interview Coaching course. Unleash your inner rockstar podcaster. Whether you are a beginner podcaster or a seasoned podcast guesting, this course is tailor-made for you. Imagine refining your interview skills, mastering the art of storytelling, practical exercises, monetization strategies, and community support. That's what the Podcast Mastery Interview Coaching course is all about. Visit onlinesuccessjourney.com/coaching. Turn your podcasting dreams into reality, one interview at a time. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com/coaching. Remember, it's not just about the mic. It's about making an impact. Join us on this exciting journey. Now, Mike, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
All right, I'm up for it.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
Is it only one or the other? I do both.
Which one takes more time?
Well, I read books. I read a lot of books.
Okay, we'll go for books. Thus, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell is my favorite. I already mentioned it. Highly recommend it.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I would buy someone's knowledge on how to get me that $100 and turning it into $500. And that's what I would do. I would try to buy someone's information on how to do that.
If you had a little note in your pocket, what would that be?
You got this.
What is your next chapter?
Right. Next chapter, I have a toddler and a newborn. So the next chapter would be enjoying the next 18 summers with them.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
I feel like success is a journey. So I am still on the journey.
Will you ever stop?
Only when I'm dead.
As we come to the end of our interview, what additional wisdom would you like to share with our listeners?
I would say that regardless of whatever season you're in right now, just dance with it and embrace it and meet it where it's at. And if you're in a winter season, there's 3 ways to approach it. Nuzzle up by the fireplace, wait it out, tire yourself out by shoveling all the snow as it's coming down, or grab a sled and some skis and enjoy it. So there's 3 approaches to winter. Spring, if you're in spring, planting seeds, building something, just make sure you're aggressively planting the right seeds, because whatever you plant, if you're planting orange seeds, you're going to get oranges in the fall. If you're planting apple seeds, you're going to get apples in the fall. So make sure you're intentional with whatever seeds you are planting you're going to bear those fruits in the fall season. And in the summer season, no distractions, just grind, eliminate all the distractions and just focus on the seeds that you planted and nurturing them and bringing them to fruit. And then when you're in that fall season, enjoy your fruit. But I would also recommend making sure that you are saving some of that fruit for just in case if and when winter comes, and making sure you're dedicating some time to rejuvenating yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, and really nourish yourself. So that way, if and when winter comes, you are emotionally and physically prepared and not settling for all the successes and all the fruits that you've earned.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
I would just say betterthanrich.com/90-day plan. That would be the easiest place to connect with me, because it gets you right to my calendar. It's not going to be forever, but that would be the best place, betterthanrich.com/90-day plan.
Mike, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Patience.
You are welcome. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Mike.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest, and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.